Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Grounded in the Noise podcast with me, Sean Tucker. And I'm so honored today because I get to speak to a man who has inspired me so much in the recent few months, but actually in the last few years that I've got to know him. This man, if you don't know him, his name is Bekes. He's actually a Guinness World Record holder for the longest audio broadcast in 2023. And he has dedicated his life to exposing false gurus through human intelligence. He's had 1,800 consecutive days in war and extensive experience as a military intelligence and diplomatic security operative. He doesn't just speak about resilience. He's actually lived it on the front lines. His background in military, war, and diplomatic intelligence gives him authority, credibility, and above all, life experience in navigating extreme adversity. He understands what it takes to overcome obstacles, rebuild after loss, and push beyond mental and physical limitations. Mario, so honored to have you here, brother. Thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast.
Sean, thank you for having me on your podcast. And first, before we continue, before we do anything, I just want to say to your audience how immensely proud I am knowing you, because last week you stepped into Octagon at your free will and you fought. And takes a lot of balls, takes a lot of courage, determination, and above all, you walk the walk, not to talk. So I just want to say how proud I am of you, and well done, my friend. You're literally well done. You know what I mean? I just want to say from the onset of this podcast, by having me, I just die and say, Sean! Yeah! Proud of you, man. That's it. Sorry. Okay, please continue. It's your podcast.
Oh, Mario, thank you so much for that. I mean, I have to take it back a few steps, because one of the reasons I stepped in, we got to know each other through a business networking a few years ago. Good. Yeah, I think we've always sort of had just that mutual respect for one another. And I think when I saw and heard about you, also a fighter, right? You've been in a few boxing matches yourself. You've inspired me not only to extend myself and push my boundaries of what I think I can do, but even to step into the octagon, which I did just on the weekend. I think anyone who has that courage to earn their self-respect through a training camp, push themselves, push their boundaries, set a Guinness World Record, right? 2 years ago.
Yes.
I'm honored to be in your presence and honored to.
No, it goes both ways. Goes both ways. You know what I mean? Just as I said, like I'm humbled that I'm talking to the man who lives that life. It's easier to be the spectator. In a life, everybody loves to be a spectator. Everybody knows, how to guide you from the safe distance. But reality is we live in the present time, and that's our biggest enemy. Time is our biggest enemy. Either go and live in the past, regrets, or the future, what we're going to do. But you live the now. And that's something it's very impressive for everybody who knows you, because you decided to do something what most of the men will never do it. They will dream about. You know what I mean? Coming from you, admiration for me, I want to return the not favor, but I want to say how much I am proud knowing you as well.
Yeah. And honestly, mate, it's that respect that you earn through the journey of it. And I'd love to go back with you a little bit back into the days where you spent 1,800 consecutive days on the front line.
I said to people, be careful what you wish for.
Like that takes an enormous amount of courage, right? You're literally going to war.
Yeah.
You've been on those front lines. What was it at the moment was it conscription service? Like you had to do it as part of from where you were from, or was it like a choice? Like what was it that sparked it for you?
Well, it was a mixture of everything. Like, as those who don't know, I was born in Yugoslavia, the beautiful socialist communist country, which is being consisted from 6 republics, and every republic has a different language, different religion, different way of lifestyle. So you're all being amalgamated into the one, in a one barrel, which is ready to explode, right? And we all carried some historical events into that new country called Yugoslavia. So Croatia was always on the side of the Germans in Second World War, Austro-Hungarian monarchy. Serbia was always a part of the, Russian, extension and everything else. So, and the war actually culminated, I was I was preparing myself to become the young communist officer in the Yugoslav People Army.
Yeah.
And then somehow, like sometime towards the end of the 80s, we started getting some movies from the West more often because of VCR. And this guy Robo appears, with the M60 machine gun, I want to have this one, I want to war. So long story short, what happened, I wanted to experience the war, and the war happened to us. So Yugoslavia started falling apart from inside. As you know, the Eastern Germany, 1989, Romania has a bloody uprising in 1990, and Yugoslavia was sinking into abyss of civil war to settle all scores. So eventually I was in love with the girl of my dreams, and overnight she becomes my enemy because she was a Serbian. And on the 4th of July, 1991, so I knew it is something's happening with Yugoslavia. I just want to try to come to the point. I love to explain on a wide way. 4th of July, 1991, the war broke out. That morning I was being wake up by the violent knocking on my door. So I opened the door, there was military police. They told me, Mario, you need to report in the army barracks, you need to defend the country. On the way downstairs, I realized that very moment that there's nobody in my house. So I found the note of my parents who ran away night before. Literally, they dumped me. So they left me a message, yeah, we okay. And I was like, what does that even mean? But night before, I was so drunk because, as I said, I was in love with a girl. I couldn't be with anymore with her. So we break up. She's going to Serbia from Croatia. I come home over 2 o'clock in the morning. I was fighting all night. I was so upset and everything else. About 9 o'clock in the morning, military police wakes me up and say, like, you need to go in army barracks, fighting the war. My parents dumped me. And as I was walking downstairs in the ground floor of my building, the guys from my street says to me, where are you going? I said, like, well, it's a war. They said to me, who are you going to fight for? For Yugoslavia, for your country, Croatia independence? It's like, fuck, that's a fucking question and a half, mate.
Big question.
Yeah, it's a big question. So I said, well, Croatia is my country. We're going to fight for Croatia. Even we were born and raised, to defend Yugoslavia, particularly in my case, going to military school at age 14. That was my part. I started primary school. I finished primary school in 1987. Same year, I went in high school, which is a military school. And 4 years I was in military school waiting to become the officer of People's Federal Army. And then somehow I found myself on the 14th of July, 1991, in Ministry of Interior Special Forces. You know what I mean? New uniform, everything. I said, okay, I got the biggest machine gun. And what was your uncle? That was my journey. And same night, I went in a war.
It's almost like I don't know. I feel like it's like a dream come true, but at the same time, it's the most scary freaking thing in the world, right?
Look, I'm not running from this one. I just recently done something about my book, Blood, Soccer, Soil, if I can
Of course.
say. I wrote a book about this thing called the Blood, Soccer, Soil. So I took an account of my life and experiences as a soldier, not point of view just of fighting, but my fears, my trials and tribulations. So remember, Sean, I tell you right now, I was 18 years old, literally 18 years old. And no, entire world around me collapsed. I didn't know what's happened. My parents gone away. Girlfriend, she's my enemy. My friends who I used to look so high, the so-called alpha males, they
Yeah.
all run away. So somehow I was in the Ministry of Interior, Police, Special Forces, with our average Joes, like guys like me, like you. There's nothing special about us, you know what I mean? We're just normal guys, you know what I mean? And that afternoon, we sent to my first firefight on the 14th of July. I can't even forget this. It was some village. I never heard that village before in my life. And I remember that night I fall asleep. I was sent to sleep, for a couple hours, and I found this teddy bear on some type of the lounge bed type, some wooden thing, whatever it's called. The teddy bear. So I put the teddy bear under my head to fall asleep. And the first night I have the smoke. First night I have a couple, scotches, become the
Yeah.
man. Hair start growing suddenly. And I cried, Sean. I say, honestly, nobody was laughing to me. I cried because I was afraid. A teddy bear was become my best friend.
I can't even imagine what that would be to experience. Like,
And
Yeah,
that's was
is
really
50.
1800 combat day. So 5 years I was on my own. So like no parents, nobody was there for me. So that's, day after day was just a war, 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 war. Even something was called the status quo, but it was if it's no war in Croatia, there's a war in Bosnia. So let's go in Bosnia. Let's go do war there.
Wow.
And you become the junkie, I become the junkie for the war. So
Yeah. And just to get that picture in my head, right? Like you're falling asleep, you've got your life ahead of you, you've got this beautiful partner, you probably want to, spend the rest of your life with her if that's kind of
bro,
feelings.
I build the dreams, everything, the
Yeah,
house, the
right.
kids, everything. But suddenly, the next time I was with a girlfriend was like 3 years later. So like 3 years later, I was there was no Pornhub or something like this. I mean, you just cry me a river story. I mean, I was very sad, man. So I wanted to die. Actually, that's first couple of months I wanted to die because I wasn't with that girl, and because of stupidity, I become the hero because I was doing things I shouldn't do it. So everybody says to me, Bekes is crazy. And I mean, he's going I just want to die. I mean, like my love, like Romeo and Juliet story, but a little bit more.
Yeah. But you know what they say? You know what they say? The people who actually experience life are the ones who are ready to experience death, It's you can only really grasp what life is when you have come close to experiencing what death is.
Well, till the first time I wasn't wounded. And then I said, like, I don't want to die. So, like, it was
Yeah.
like, but, I
Love
mean,
the
that
honesty.
was it. Yeah. That's the reason why it's like a 5 years, 1991, June 91, 14 July 91, till the 96 June, something like 32 June or something like this. Yes.
Wow. What happened after? Like, what did you do after? Because anyone will. I don't know what I would do. Like, I've got no
I
idea.
didn't know nothing better. I didn't know nothing else. I mean, I was very young. I was a tip of the spear. What I mean? Age of the knife. So I was young, no family, no kids. So I was progressing career from special forces in Eastern Eritrea to the security forces later on. After war finished officially, I was transferred to military police security departments. That's all I can say, security department. Again, be careful what you wish for because I just want to be the spy, I just want to be the spy. And everyone says to me, come on, stop, Mario, you can't. And I was drafted. 96, I was approached officially during the coffee with my friend. I was being approached by the certain person. And I got an envelope which says to Monday morning, we want to see you in Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I said, like, well, I'm in Ministry of Defense. What the Ministry of Foreign Affairs wants from me? And lady, she says to me, 8 o'clock in the morning, silence. If you speak to anybody, repercussions. And I was like, this is a joke. You don't talk to me that way. You know who I am. So at that stage, I was a young officer in military, in security services, security intelligence services in military. So the war is very behind me almost 1 year after 5 years in combat. I finished a number of the schools. I was being sent in Croatia and abroad. Government sets me, and I was being sharpened to become, we call what actually these people want me to become. So on Monday morning, I went to capital city on a train, midnight train. I was like in a, jeans jacket, jeans, the gun behind my back, the smokes. 300 kilometers trip takes 7 hours by train.
What a
So in
gangster.
the morning, I come in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, 400 young men, everybody Pierre Cardin suits, ties, smell nice. Comes the Murray. You know that movie, Men in Black, the first part, where the
Yeah.
Will Smith comes on that and they fill in some forms and he comes in orange suit. That was me. You know what I mean? I was just standing out like a peasant. Yeah, little by little, took it 2 years to do vetting, trainings in silence. Nobody did know nothing. And eventually on 30th of May, 1998, I come to my general. I say, like, from this very moment, I'm out from Ministry of Defense. And he says to me, Mario, you understand what you're saying to me? You're going to be deserted. This, I say, like, no, you're going to get the facts. He says to me, this is not a movie. And facts come is signed by the Ministry of Security Services. He says to me, I said, bro, I'm done. So I was happy after, in total, in 14 years, almost in military at age 14.
Wow.
I was in Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Something was called Directorate 7. So it was a foreign intelligence security services. I got the suit, the tie. Oh, so, oh, look at me in a suit. So it's
The
yeah,
corporate man, hey? The
yeah.
corporate warrior, the corporate soldier. There you go.
So that was my trip in nutshell. So be careful what you wish for. Say to people, be careful what you wish for, because everything what I wish till today, it comes true. I don't know how. I don't know mechanics, but I know it was a journey.
Yeah, wow. And fast forward, right? Thank you for being open and sharing all of that. Says a lot about just who you are and your character. And I guess never ever judge a book by its cover.
True.
Never ever judge a book by its cover, because there's a lot more depth to what we see on the surface. That's what I'll say.
People judge you one way or another. I mean, in my life, or plenty in my life, I wanted some things in my life. I want to have the McDonald's. I want to have the Walkman. I would dream about Walkman. I come in Australia, everybody has a CD. So like, what's up with the Walkman? I mean, like, no, it's a CD. And it's like, oh, look at these people are living on a different planet. You can't
And
just.
the technology advancement.
I still dream about tapes. I mean, like, so yeah, you're right. I mean, don't never judge the book by the cover. Yeah.
But I don't know. I see this great superpower you have, and I reckon it must be something to do with, I don't know, in simple ways, shape, or form, naivety, like being naive.
Mm,
Be careful what you wish for is really the quote that I would attune to that, because
yes.
we don't really know what's on the other side. We don't even really know what's inside the experience until we really do it. And we only learn from it, right? There's no good or bad. It's what we perceive that come through that experience. But it's interesting, because then you fast forward to where you are today. And, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
you decided you're going to break the Guinness World Record for the longest audio podcast. Like,
Yeah.
who
Look,
in their right mind would?
I have another one on my mind, so next year. But look, it's you and I, nothing. We are not different, Sean. Like I said, like I admire people who always try to build themselves, build something new, the legacy, creating something better than we found. Most of my life it was destructive nature.
Mhm.
I very quickly become what I never wanted to become. I never been raised to become mean person. I enjoyed causing pain, hurting people, destroying it. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. But I always take a step further because I wanted that rank, I wanted that star. I want to prove myself. But I didn't know that what has beginning has the end. Same the world, you know what I mean? Lucky for me, my grandfather was my role model because, as I said, my parents, they dumped me at age 14. My grandfather becomes my guardian. And he sent me military school. And he became I would say, like a father figure to me. And he always told me, everything has an end, Marty. So be careful, slow down. I mean, don't burn yourself, but candle and in the middle. At that stage, even when I was working in foreign intelligence, when the seminar at 98 in November, I always think that I was invincible. I'm the best, strongest, smartest guy. What followed for me, like when I stayed in Australia, I expected that it could be at least head of Asia, you know what I mean? Oh, world owes me. Everybody owes me. Nobody owes Mario Bekes nothing. And the life just hits you so hard. So
That's
that's why we
it.
need to learn lessons. We need to learn the lessons.
And it's all comes through the experience, right? That's where the growth comes from. And that's why we said the challenge to ourselves. It's not about achieving the challenge. It's not even about really getting the goal. It's the process. It's the journey of becoming.
Yeah. I think now, like I'll be biggest lie if I say my life was, this or that or plain everything. It's easy to talk from this point of view, from this, experience now where I, have a quality lifestyle, right? So I don't need to struggle anymore. Can I buy the cup of coffee or pay the bills? Everything what was leading to this way, but there was so many trials and tribulations that I hated even you, Sean, even I never know you. I blame everybody in my life for my downfalls. You know, my ego was biggest enemy. What I did, instead of learning, I was hurting myself even more, but hurting me and hurting people around me as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're right here when you say we need to learn from our mistakes.
And that's the thing, like your ego is the insecure part of yourself that it doesn't want to face the fear. It wants to avoid the hard things and the pain
Yes.
and the discomfort. But it's interesting that that's where the growth comes from, is actually facing those insecurities, facing those challenges, moving forward. Like, be careful what you wish for. That's
Yeah.
a great little quote I'm gonna keep for you. I'm gonna use that every time we see
Yeah.
each other.
True. Look,
Because you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
look, you know how many times you see, never in my life, and I never had the best. My parents was alcoholics. My mom, she's a kleptoman, you know what I mean? So my father was a very brutal, that alpha male type, father, where the belt was always playing the major role in educating me. But he was a coward, you know what I mean? Like, in my eyes, my father represented every man who talks me, 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 me. I can do this. But when it come to crunch time, my father was the first one to run away. And I asked my father before he passed away, I said, why did you dump me? He said, because I was afraid. I said, what do you think? I wasn't afraid of the war. Like, like it's not a time to, you know, Captain America, so I can, survive everything. But the thing is, life is full of challenges, and we need to recognize those challenges as they're approaching us. When I said to the beginning of this podcast, why I'm admiring you, I said, like, you prove it to world, to yourself, most importantly, that it can be done, that fear can overcome. Fear can be managed. You can step into that octagon. You did it. And I said, like, war, you have no choice. Either you're in or out. There's no other way. So
Yeah.
you are in your wars, I'm in my wars. We just need to be prepared to learn the lessons of life. That's all.
I'd love to lean into this thought that I'm having right now, which is what do you think actually makes us, I guess, ponder in that decision of like, are we going to face or are we going to run away? Because nature and nurture are such a big topic of today. And I think, especially with people's mental health, there's so much that's happening in the world where people feel like they don't have choice. But when you just stay with it, I feel like there's an opportunity. You're presented with so much opportunity. And if I reflect back to Sunday where I had my fight in the octagon, there were so many chances for me to run away. And what I mean by run away is not even get into the ring, not even get into the octagon. The cards were rigged against me. But at the same time, it's like I chose that because I made a commitment to myself at the beginning of the training camp that I'm going to have zero options. I'm going to get in there regardless.
You said the key word. You said the key word 2 times.
Yeah.
Choice. I say we are all product of our choices. I'm 53 now. I can say this clearly. In 2009, when the GFC hits Australia, I lost corporate job. Marriage was down the rocks. My son was diagnosed with epilepsy. So things was going from bad to worse. And I said to myself, I always wanted to run my own business. Now it's time to run the business. But the reason why I started the business, because nobody want to give me a job, because everybody was losing jobs. So I started working as a PI, at investigator. And you can imagine in the business community, being product investigator, you're being seen, as an idiot. Then I met somebody who changed my life entirely. And you mentioned this one, nurture and nature. A couple of years later, I met Professor Dr. Troy Whitwood and Professor Clyde Smallman. And Professor Clyde Smallman, he put me in direction, says to me, it's not what you by nature, but by nurture. I said, like, can you translate this for me? It doesn't make sense. I'm just a PI. So he put me on a path to go into school. So like I was the one who laughed everybody because I truly believe I know everything. So he says to me, you may need to make a choice, Mario. If you really wanted to your dreams come true, to become a businessman, writer, and everything else, you need to overcome some things which you already learned and evolve in your previous, experiences like you did, Sean. But ultimately comes to this point, it's a choice. All our problems comes on our mouth or comes out mouth. We can make a choice. So like you ask me, Mario, you want to be on my podcast? I can say yes or no. You know what I mean? I need to say it. If I say yes, I need to accept, you know what I mean, that are going to be questioned. You ask your questions, we're going to interact and everything else. Most of people will choose the easy path. Somebody else going to sort it out this, somebody else going to help it there, somebody else going to admit. Mental health is in crisis, and we need to make a choice how we can help ourselves, because the fabric of society is being changed during the COVID, and that's not normal. That is not normal. I remember Chernobyl happened in 86, and I remember we being locked 14 days in Yugoslavia, 14 days. Can you imagine one channel TV? You know, with my parents, bro, like just want to kill each other. You know, inside a house.
100%. Yeah.
14 days. Can you imagine? Like, you know, luckily we didn't have the dead angels. But the thing is, I mean, imagine if you have that. Oh my God. Anyway, long story short, you made a choice consciously that you're going to prepare yourself, Sean, a walk in the ring. But you tell me, when you make that choice, how did you felt? How did you feel with that choice walking the ring? Feelings did you have when you say like, I need to walk in that ring now, they're calling my name?
It was the most exhilarating and scary experience of my life, if I'm being brutally honest. And the 16 seconds that I lasted in there was both the longest and the shortest amount of time I've ever had. I looked at fear in the face and I said, not today. Let's go. Let's rumble.
Now, draw the parallel
Yeah.
and listen to all these people on the internet who are prepared to share their quotes, their ideas, the blueprints of success. In reality, they have no experience. Do from these 16 seconds. Dual. There's a famous guy called Miyamoto Musashi. You ever heard of him?
No.
Okay, Miyamoto Musashi wrote something called the Doku, the Book of Five Rings. And it will also show, you can read it. I'm applying his methods, and it's like, he said, look lightly about yourself and the world, which you did. You know what I mean? You're looking, I'm the Sean Tucker, I walk inside, and my time there, it's my time there. Nobody hold your hand. No mommy, daddy, jets, you know what I mean, Superman, whatever you want to do. It was your time.
Yeah.
Everybody was watching you, and everybody wants you to fail. You understand? And yet you walk in. Just to walk in the octagon, bro. Look at, what's it called, the other one? What's his name? Andrew Tate. He's doing the sparring with the people who never hold the gloves in their hands. And he tries to portray himself as a man. Bro, go with Sean Tucker now. Because he'll not be able to do this. You see, every time you walk into a ring called life, you are winning, Sean. And for me, in my eyes, my books, you win.
Yeah.
Because it's like easy for us to popcorn and say, yeah, bro, do it.
It's so interesting that, you know, your perception, your perspective shifts so much when you put yourself in the place like that. And I can't imagine what life would look like if I did run away, if I did, you know, dump my baby because I was too fearful to carry on the next day and be there and protect my child. I can't imagine the experiences that you've had to go through to be the man that you are today. And I just really have so much respect and admiration for the life that you've chose to live. Because, mate, Mario, there's so many people right now that are struggling. And you know it. I know it. The politicians don't really care.
True. I agree
It
with you.
comes back to people like us who we do hard things to show people that we are human too. You know, there's nothing special about you. There's nothing special about me. It's just our commitment to be better.
I just want to share something with you what I learned in academy. When I say academy, there's several different academies, military academy, intelligence academy, but this one is related to the intelligence academy. And I remember, you know, I mean, when we spoke about, we tried to learn that human behavior and, you know, these things. Can you imagine me like 25 years old, like, oh, fuck, you just give me the gun and badge, you know, I mean, 007. I just want to, I just want to, you know, but I think it is, most of people go in bed unhappy. And what they do, they bring all the problems in bed, which you can't solve that night. Eric Tolle, he wrote a book, Power of Now. He says, he elaborated this. If you look in reality, this very moment, you and I, we don't have any problems. Maybe have a problems yesterday, maybe we're going to have problems tomorrow, but this very moment, we have no problems. But yet everybody wake up in the morning and try to give you the best of them bullshit talks, blueprints for success. You go to LinkedIn, where I wake up in the morning, everybody has a it's a master stroke, you know what I mean? How to live the life. And reality, they go home, what they learn in academy, and that's that lady, she told us. The moment you lock the door, the misery start hitting the walls and closing because you have a TV in front of you who shows you all things you want, you don't have, you can dream about, and anxiety grows. Most of the heart attacks happens on Monday morning. You'll show up between 7 a.m. 9 a.m. You know that? Every Monday morning between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. because on Sunday afternoon after the footy show, which I don't watch it because I don't understand that game, I don't understand the cricket. So, you know what I mean? I go to the gym. He said, people after that game, anxiety start building. Oh, it's Monday. The boss, the bills, the kids, the school, the this, that, the. They sit in the car. Come McDonald's, give me coffee. You can check. It's a statistically speaking. It's a statistics.
I can totally understand it, right? I get it. You know, many people are just victims of their own lives, and then they
But
wake
it's your
up.
job, Sean. It's your job, Sean, not mine. You are the younger than me. It's your job to make this world better. I tried now, but I'm on a sunset side. So I feel like I'm seeing you as a truly somebody, you know what I mean, like a tequila sunrise, you know, it's like you and I, right? It's like I see my son and I realize that I can't tell him to do things as I did because very different times. But the world needs people like yourself. You experience the most brutal human activity, walking into a ring where you are volunteering to somebody else punching your face. Do you understand that, you know, nobody can bullshit to you anymore about fees, about judgment. You walked in, and that's what a man truly it is. When you make a clear choice, I will fight. After all,
Yeah, Mario, thank you. I
you're welcome.
appreciate you saying so. And, you know, it's coming up to the end of our podcast and our conversation today. I really, really appreciate the depth that we've gone to. There's one question I'd love to ask and
Please.
in reflection back to the moment you really found out that, you know, you maybe saw the note, you walked downstairs and you saw that there was no one there. And it was the day that, you know, you were basically invited in and go to the barracks and fight the war. Given what you've lived through now and all the experience you have and the knowledge and the wisdom that you embody, what would you tell that younger version of yourself who walked down and found no one there?
Don't be afraid. It's a choice is being made for you to be on your own. You know, I hold against my father for such a long time. It's going to be 30 years in January now. He passed away. They made a choice for themselves, and I need to make a choice for me. I just say this. Be careful who you are surrounding yourself with. Because that day, I choose the buddies from the street, right? Instead of officers, which I was supposed to report, and I was a part of that call. But later on in my life, I learned to surround myself with the people who's going to bring best in me. And that's to say, like, I want everybody understand we are product of our choices. And what caused pain today will cause satisfaction tomorrow if you choose to suffer today, to go to that obstacles, you know what I mean, everything else to reach your goals. Because tomorrow is going to reward you. But if you choose easy path, it's going to hit you hard. So be careful what you're choosing and who you're choosing. So I chose the war because I want a war. I want to be Rambo. He didn't walk that way.
Mario, I appreciate you and
You're welcome.
sharing your story as well as just being a legend, man, being the king. I just appreciate who you embody, and I'm grateful that you got to share this conversation space with me. Is there anything you'd like to add before we finish up? And what I mean by that is, like, how do people find you? How can they get inspired by you? Like, what's the best place to connect with you?
I want you to contact Sean Tucker, and Sean Tucker is going to give you details. Okay, guys, just simple. Just Googled Mario Bekes, Bekes, or just go on my website, mariobekes.com.au. All the links are there. But I said, like, basically, I want you guys to support the Sean Tucker podcast. And again, I said, like, I know you call me to be your guest, but I can't express how proud I am of you, Sean. By every fiber of my body, every art of my body, I'm talking to somebody who made a choice. Because one day, what I try to say, Eleni, in a podcast, maybe you lost for 60 seconds. That was a Sunday. In 2 weeks' time, they're going to say, you know who that guy is? Sean Tucker. He was fighting in Octagon.
Yeah, that's right.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Because are not made, they're born. You decide to give the birth to something else, and that is to fight in life. And your kids one day is going to walk in the street, they're going to say, my dad was there. That's it. So guys, find me to the Sean Tucker or go to my website, mariobekes.com.
Yes. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Go have a wonderful week, wonderful day. And yeah, make sure you connect with Mario and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
You're welcome.